Welcome to the Top 10 Strategies for Supporting Individuals with Autism. I am Gina Nolan, and I'm an effective practice specialist for autism in the partner districts.
I am Sanae Kotari-Kish, and I'm also an effective practice specialist for autism in the special school district schools. Today's learning will focus on practical strategies you, as caregivers and family members, can use anywhere you go with your child. These strategies should work for all individuals, not just individuals on the spectrum, and they should work for all individuals of all ages. We hope that you find new ways to help the person you're supporting to be successful in any environment. If you have any difficulties implementing these strategies, please feel free to reach out to an SSD professional for assistance. To begin our top 10 countdown, number 10, use statements and not questions. When speaking to an individual with difficulties in languages, it is important to be clear on what you want them to take away from the message. By using statements, it makes it clear what you want the individual to do. For example, it is much clearer and more direct to say, sit down, than to ask, why are you standing there? If you use a question, our students might struggle with responding to questions, and this will complicate the interaction. Often, the individual does not abstract the implication or the hidden meaning of the interaction and will be stuck, which will make it difficult or impossible to respond. Therefore, when using direct statements, it is much easier for the individuals to process the information and follow the directive. By using a statement, you are also not leaving it up to the individual for choice, and it will help them initiate action. For example, when getting ready to start schoolwork, saying, let's get started, would help the student initiate action rather than, would you like to start? Which could result in their response of, no.
Number 9, be specific and state what you want the individual to do. Avoid using the negative or words like stop. When using these words, this can cause a person on the spectrum to struggle to know what to do and occasionally even make an inappropriate choice in the absence of understanding what is expected. This might result in something which would be even more unwanted. For example, when you tell someone to stop picking their nose, they may choose to wipe their nose on your shirt. To support them in making a choice which results in more appropriate behavior, you might say, use a tissue to clean your nose. Another example could be, do your homework, rather than saying, stop playing those video games, which might result in them having a tantrum or choosing to watch YouTube. So it's important to use specific and positive language stating exactly what you want the person to do.
Strategy number 8, be consistent on words and actions. Individuals on the spectrum may require multiple repetitions for learning and have a difficult time with change. By having consistent routines and expectations and using the same words for same items or people, you will provide them with consistency. For example, we many times have multiple nicknames for family members. Try to stick to one name, such as Grammy, rather than calling the same person Mima, Gammy, Mama, Nana, or Ba. It is also important to create space and time for various activities. For example, create a space and routine for working or doing schoolwork. This reduces anxiety and confusion and will increase the likelihood for the students to become more independent and engaged in their schoolwork.
Strategy number 7, give behavior-specific praise. Providing specific praise helps individuals to know what they are doing well, and it encourages them to continue that behavior. It is important to provide a significant amount of positive feedback rather than corrective feedback. It shapes behavior and is much more motivating. For example, it is better to say, I like the way you were thinking about me when you chose this gift. This helps the individual understand exactly what they should do again next time, rather than just responding, I like it, which would not explain to them that they should be thinking about others when they're picking out a gift.
Strategy number 6, set, maintain high expectations. Set and maintain high expectations requires that people are remembering that it's important to give individuals the opportunity to make choices, try new things, and practice skills which are challenging to them. While it is faster to do things for someone who might be slower or struggling, ultimately, you are teaching them that they cannot do it rather than setting them up for success and encouraging them to try. I think the quote by Henry Ford, if you think you can or you think you cannot, you are always right. So, set individual up for success by setting high expectations. Help them know they can and they will.
Number 5 in the countdown is establish rules and routines. Rules and routines provide structure and predictability. When given this predictability, it generally reduces problematic behaviors which stem from anxiety, fear of change, or difficulty predicting what is coming next. An example might be creating a bath time or bedtime routine. The steps of this routine could be first, take your bath, then put on your PJs, brush your teeth, get into bed, and then read your bedtime story. By practicing these in the same sequence every night, it will build a predictable routine which increases compliance as well as provide repetition for the individual to perform the tasks more independently.
Strategy number 4, use the Premack Principle. This strategy has been used by grandmothers from the beginning of time. Remember your grandma saying, first eat your peas and then you will get your ice cream. This strategy motivates the person to get through a neutral or disliked activity to obtain the liked or preferred activity. For example, clean your room and then you can have a video time.
Number 3, encourage choice. By providing an individual with choice, it gives them buy-in and a sense of control. It is important to provide 2 real choices. For example, when it is not an option to complete your homework, you would say, do you want to do your math or your reading homework first? If the child only has math homework, you might say, do you want to do the math facts or the word problems first? By providing choices, you are giving your child control and power.
Strategy number 2, use positively stated contingencies. By using positive language, individuals on the spectrum are more inclined to show interest in the demand placed on them. Hearing you cannot do something can discourage the individuals or may even be perceived as a threat. However, when the individuals hear that once an expected task is completed, they can go ahead and do or go for another task or activity that they're looking forward to, it would increase the chances of their engagement and motivation. They may be more agreeable to the request. For instance, instead of saying, if you don't make the bed, you cannot watch TV, the student may be more inclined to completing the task when they hear, as soon as you make your bed, you can watch TV. So remember, state what you want them to do, followed by what they can get when completing the activity.
And last but not least, the number one strategy for using visual supports. Many individuals with autism are visual learners and struggle with auditory language. By providing a visual support, it reduces the ambiguity and helps the individual process the information. A visual can reduce anxiety by predicting what is coming next. Temple Grandin, a well-known, highly educated individual with autism, is quoted saying, "If I can't see it, I can't hear it." Visual supports are used throughout the community. A caution sign, even when you've been driving the same route for many years, helps us to know there is potential danger ahead and we need to slow down. We all use many forms of visual supports in our daily lives. We use calendars, to-do lists, recipes, and even maps. Visuals are efficient ways to communicate information. Please go to the next slide to see examples of visual supports.
These are some examples that include pictures, but a written schedule would work for many individuals depending on their needs. We have seen some students draw their own pictures to create their schedules. With internet at your disposal, finding pictures is easier these days. You can certainly reach out to your child's teachers to support you at home with these needs.
These websites are helpful to find additional strategies to support those near and dear to you.
Thank you for taking the time to learn with us today.
Please reach out if there's anything we can do to support you.